From school bus driver to one of Wave 1's Fiverr. Here's a look at the new Jakks Pacific. This is the Simpsons Otto. Collect your favorite cartoon characters from the Simpsons TV series with the first wave of the Simpsons 5-inch scale figures featuring basic articulation. These iconic characters from the Simpsons are sure to please cartoon lovers and collectors alike. I had mustard? Just before, of course, we get a closer look at the new Jakks Pacific Simpsons Otto. The tape measure is going to tell us that the figure stands at 4.5 inches in height. He loves to get blotto. He stands at about 11.5 centimeters tall. As for where we are right now, we've already had a look at Homer J. Simpson, and we followed things up with Bartholomew J. Simpson. From a scale standpoint, I think Otto's pretty scaled well with the other two figures that we've already had a look at. Obviously, he should be a lot bigger than Bart, but he shouldn't be as tall, though, as Homer. This is how you handle the Simpsons license. Otto, questionably, didn't need to be part of this first wave, but considering that you already have heavy hitters like Homer and Bart in this wave, you could justify Otto's inclusion. Speaking of inclusion, one of the included accessories that come with Otto is, of course, his guitar. The guitar, I'm guessing, probably has been molded in this beige plastic, and then they've painted the end in sort of a very tomato-ish red. It does hold in his hand, although it's the easiest if you have it held by the handle or the neck. If you try to hold it here, it's just too thick of a piece of plastic. He does have gripping hands, although, again, he really has a harder time trying to get this on the end of the guitar. Honestly, what I end up really just doing is getting the neck of the guitar in there, and it snaps perfectly fine, and then just have the other hand sort of up as if he's ready to strum his guitar. You may have already noticed, something I noticed right away is the fact that Otto is once again loose in the elbows. And I say once again, not necessarily relating to Otto, but it seems like already Homer and Bart have had loose elbows. Otto follows that trend as well. I mean, you can probably already see, too, how loose his elbows already are out of packaging. This just seems to be maybe the type of joint that they're using, but I don't know. I'm just not happy by the condition of these joints right out of the packaging. This guy has only been out of the cardboard prison for maybe about, 15, 20 minutes. I haven't done much at all really with his elbow joints, and yet just look at the state of them. They're way too loose. One of the other included accessories may be not really considered an accessory because he does come included with his Walkman. His Walkman is permanently attached to the side. I don't think you can remove it. I think you're only just going to break the plastic. And then, of course, it attaches to his headphones, which is like the Walkman. You can't remove it. You can't take these off his head. I don't think he necessarily needs them, have them off anyways. It's always one of those things that characters known for having. And it doesn't at all really limit his articulation because really, to be fair, he's already limited on articulation because of the size of his hair on his back. So really going to move his head back and forth, you can have a little bit more problems. Some of the problems I do have, though, with Otto is more to do with paint than anything else. He's got a little smudge. If I get my finger out of the way, you probably can't even see. Right here. Right here, you can see there's a little bit of orange sort of smudged on the top of his nose. I've also got a little fleck there on the side. So again, some of the paint generally I would imagine has been handled well. I just happen to have just an Otto that just has a little bit of problems with paint on the front of his face. All in all, though, it looks a lot like Otto. I just think they've done a nice job on him, giving him the overbite that he has obviously in the cartoon. Teeth are painted well, eyes are painted well, and even like the headphones, again, I wouldn't try to rip these off. You're only just going to be upsetting yourself if you do that. But again, none of this being removable, the headphones are nicely painted. I would imagine they probably would have painted these separately and then put them on top of his head rather than put it on top and then trying to paint around it, because you only would have ended up either with black on the headphones, or you probably would have had blue somewhere on the large fro on the back of his head. Yeah, of course, he's got the pink shirt. He's also got down below the purple shorts and very bright orange sneakers. For the figure's articulation, can't also forget the fact that figure does have a little bracelet, something also that he has in the cartoon. I don't know if I really would have included anything else. I jokingly at the beginning of this review said I had mustard. I think if anything, I would have just thrown in the mustard. Such a ridiculous sort of accessory. It didn't need to even be there in the first place, but just so more as a reference to the cartoon. He sort of gets evicted, and then he says, did I have anything in the apartment? And they said, well, we found some dirty magazines, I think it was, and a jar of mustard. And he says, I had mustard? Just a nice little included accessory. Anyways, though, the figure's articulation, if you're familiar already with the 5-inch figures, then you already know what you're going to be getting here with Otto. You're just going to be getting a little less of it just because he can't really rotate his head, just because he's got so much hair, so much foliage on the back of the body. Head only rotates back and forth because, again, like these figures don't have ball joints. That's as much as you're going to get out of the head. As for the arms, those easily can come out, although depending on where really you have the hair will also dictate just how much movement you can get with these arms. Sometimes if the head is turned sideways, obviously it's going to prevent you from moving the arm all the way out. Their arms rotate forward and back. He does have a swivel here. But again, like it shouldn't be this. It shouldn't be so loose so quickly out of the packaging. It does also have a hinge in the elbow. You can also, if I hold on to this part, you can rotate the forearm too. Hands rotate also all the way around, hinging back and forth. Get your own hands out of the way. I'm sorry. You can rotate the waist. The legs do split out. They're on ball joints. You can bring the legs forward, bring the legs back. There is a swivel there actually where the knee attaches to the cuff of the pants or the shorts. You can rotate it there. He does actually still surprisingly have a knee bend, similar to Bart that we looked at before. And then he does also have articulation there in his boots or in his shoes. Like with the other two figures, the figure does also have pegals in the bottoms of his feet. So if you want to use a display stand, I don't think you really need one, but if you want to use a display stand, you can certainly do that as well. Did Otto need to be part of this first wave? No. Am I glad that he is? Yes. I'm glad that he is because, again, like, if you're going to be releasing Simpsons characters, obviously supporting characters is a big thing as well. Even though the line is called Simpsons, even though the cartoon is called Simpsons, you can't just focus solely on the family. That you got to have supporting. You got to have those B's, the C's, the D tier characters. Otto, I don't know if I would say is a B tier character. He's certainly a supporting character that we see it quite often, especially when the kids are being driven to Springfield Elementary. Would he have been maybe perhaps could the wave have maybe used a different character in his place? Yes, but considering again that we already have ourselves a Homer and a Bart already first wave out the gate, I think Otto is a fine welcome addition. Honestly, I'm more excited really for Willie than I am for Otto, but considering though the fact that Otto is a character that makes appearances quite often in the cartoon, I don't mind at all that he makes this appearance in this wave. Otto does look the part, and a part that he can easily play too, considering that Jakks Pacific are selling these 5-inch Simpsons figures for $18 a piece. Granted, I'm not finding any of these at $18 a piece. I'm having to pay a little bit more for them, but they're at least an easier ask for your budget if you're looking to collect Simpsons merchandise. I hate to keep going back to comparing these to Super 7. Ultimately, though, you got to think that Super 7 would have released an Otto and probably would have replaced one of the more main characters of The Simpsons, but that Otto probably would have had 3 alternate head sculpts. I would be convinced that one of those heads probably would have been a rocking out face, and I would even be convinced that he probably would have had a stack of magazines and a jar of mustard. But the thing about that, though, is not everyone can afford an $80 to $100 figure. I can't afford an $80 to $100 figure. Jakks is, again, more reasonable when it comes to pricing, and considering, again, like Otto is not a character I would have wanted right away, but that I already have a Homer and I already have a Bart, Otto is an easier pill to swallow. Like I said, these guys aren't slated to release the third quarter of 2024. It's not to say that not everybody has to wait that long. In order for me, obviously, to have these in hand, somebody's been able to, lucky enough, find these in stores. I've heard that some Target stores have already started to stock these. I mean, obviously, there are people that are already getting their hands on these Simpsons figures. Here in Canada, though, unfortunately, I'm kind of more really relegated to checking on Facebook and hope that someone is selling one over there. What do you guys think of Otto? Let me know down below in the comments section. I really also want to ask you guys, too, if anyone's had already a chance to pick up any of these Simpsons figures, are you also experiencing loose elbow joints? Not as much in the knees. The knees aren't ones that are going to be moving as much, but I'm noticing really a lot of consistent problems when it comes to looseness in elbows. And that shouldn't be a figure company that's so new, and certainly so new out of the packaging either. If you guys did enjoy this video and want to do it a solid, throw a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. Even though we are kind of coming near the end of The Simpsons, I still have yet to pick up the Willie, but we are also going to be looking at Bartman. Funny though enough is that 4 figures are listed on the back of the packaging for the Wave 1, and yet Bartman's not one of them. It's only Homer, it's only Bart, it's Otto and Willie. Bartman must be the variant of that line. So again, we are going to be looking at Bartman in the upcoming review. Make sure you're coming back here to check out that review. And as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.